Right, so having established the proper technique for rest stroke, the next question is, of course, you want to bring the thumb into play.
In this method.
Yeah, in this method.
And I think
when,
generally...
when people play, they would use both thumb and fingers.
Yeah,
so,
to give a treble and bass for the first time with some separation to it, right?
What's your approach to that?
Okay, so I don't spend very much time on just rest stroke. You know, I have a few exercises which introduce the notes of the first string, which they haven't played before. But basically the idea is to get into the thumb as quickly as possible and let them experience the full proper sonority of classical guitar, which always comes as a great pleasure to them, right? So now the question is, how do we remain against the string, right, and combine the thumb? All right, so what I have here is a procedure where we are stroking with one element and we are positioning two elements at all times. Okay, so now I stroke with M, I position the thumb and I stroke with the thumb, maintain the position of I, stroke with I, extend M and thumb. So that is an irreducibly simple way of doing it. You know, it's a little tricky to learn in the beginning, but I find most people can get it in 5 minutes or so by going slowly.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the first issue. Now the second issue is, where is the melody and where is the accompaniment? Okay, and I have a urge here to read a little bit of an introduction. Amongst primates, no doubt Homo sapiens have the best evolved hands for guitar playing. Thank heavens especially for opposable thumbs, right? Okay, and yet seen purely from the perspective of guitar tools, human hands are far from purpose-built.
That's true.
Yeah, and it is so important that we recognize that, you know, that
counterintuitive to what we do in normal life.
Exactly.
The guitar, yes.
Exactly. Yeah. The application to the string is so counterintuitive. That is how we like to work, and that from the cessation of this practice to the beginning of the next one, you will do thousands of things with your hand in this position.
Yep.
Right? And it feels good, man. It works beautifully. You know, it's just that for guitar playing, it doesn't give good registral independence. And I find that, you know, getting back to this, instead of, we have that issue is, another thing, you know, that we could point out here is when you think about pop playing, think about the bass, the special speaker, the you know, that really hits you in the gut, you know, and that is fundamental. The bass is hard to project. And it feels so good when it's well projected, when
nice
it's warm, firm. Yeah, so that all comes into play here, you see. And I don't know, there seems to be a curious sort of blind spot in the guitar community about this, you know, the importance of making the bass a media event, so to speak. You know. Okay, so now let's just position ourselves here in the method, right? As a budding musician guitarist, your thumb program is bearing fruit. Now, as thumb and fingers combine, resist finger creep into thumb space, right?
There's a very strong tendency
for
that to happen.
An overwhelmingly strong tendency. You know, and not only that, it solves another problem, but look, when I'm over here, I have the problem of learning to lift the thumb, which is not easy. When I'm over here, I got no problem lifting the thumb at all.
But as you say, there's no power.
Exactly, but maybe I won't notice that for a long time, because look, if I'm playing, sounds pretty good, huh? You know,
but when you've heard it played otherwise, then you can hear the difference.
I mean, because the melody is in the treble, and I just need a little bit of thumb support, you know, so from that point of view, it works okay. But what we have to do is we have to try to go for registral equality before this tendency becomes too pronounced, you know. So, all right, we start out with, now there the emphasis is still in the fingers. Okay, but the very next exercise,
now the thumb is playing the accents. Yeah.
On the beat.
Yes.
Okay, so this means what? That when I'm placing the fingers on the beat for the melody, that I have some arm. Okay, for mezzo forte, remember some arm, and the thumb is just making a stroke. So that puts it in the background, all right? Now, as soon as I reverse that relationship, the thumb has some arm, or maybe quite a bit of arm. It's up to you, you know. It will change from moment to moment. But the big thing is that the fingers are then playing only
supporting role.
Right, only finger force. We have to try to bear in mind as a fundamental consideration that everything must be a beautiful tone. You know, we talk about loud notes, we talk about soft notes, fine, but the point is that when I'm doing this with my fingers, it still must be a beautiful tone.
Everything must sound good, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether loud or soft.
Do you agree that it sounds good? And yet I can still... Now, if I take a simple piece and demonstrate this, okay, I have the first bar. First of all, well, fine, those are nice strong notes, but it gives no indication of the metrics. So therefore, right? And already I see you're getting interested. Yeah, right,
yes.
Right. Okay, good. So my melody is in the fingers. Those are the metric notes for the most part. So I let the thumb fall in the background. Now here I have a moment where the thumb comes to the fore.
To the fore, yes.
Right. First of all as a little weak staccato note, then as a medium note, and then as a strong note. All right? And the fact that I have damped to prepare this also has a lot to do with my articulation, doesn't it? That one, right? And there's the mic application.
Yep.
Right. That to simply play.
You're just reproducing notes.
This is what we call tone and flow. A necessary stage,
okay.
You know? Yeah, build on your tone and flow, but move as quickly as possible to the second stage, accent, right?
And this being a piece that's very early on in the thumb, in the rest stroke method, gives the student an excellent opportunity to practice bringing out the melody with the fingers, and then later on bringing the thumb to the fore, as you say.
Right. And also, you know, I think we should stress that not every student is going to succeed with what I just played, but what we have here is a repository of potential for the talented students. You see, that they can ascend into the mic realm, even if the average ones, for instance, are content to remain at tone and flow, and I would never accept that as being necessary, but you know, there's a lot of rather casual guitar playing going on, people who really secretly would rather be playing pop and are stuck doing this. And
yeah, that is an unfortunate situation.
It is, isn't it?
Yes.
You know, so this is a line that I've walked, and I think every serious classical guitar instructor kind of resents the idea that the guitar wears so many hats. You know, and that somebody really wishes they were, you know, or
But that is also part of, you know, the guitar's history.
It is.
It's not. It doesn't require as much learning and commitment.
Wow. It certainly doesn't. You know, and sometimes we really sort of scratch our head and say, you know, wouldn't it be better just to let it go? You know? But somehow I've resisted that temptation. So, to be continued.